value creation. So value creators, as value creators, not just anything, not just business analysts, but they're value creators. So this is turning off first. Losing battery. Look, it worked for everybody except me. All right, there we go. So a great mind once said, strive not to become a success, but rather to be of value. And that, my friends, was Albert Einstein. Now, what I want you to start thinking is how things work, and to think beyond what profits are, beyond margins, beyond just success of what we know, like the big car, the big whatever. It's about how to add value to whatever environment you're engaged in, whether it be, in whatever specialty you're working in, accountants, marketing, and communication. So if that's what you're going, I know you're just climbing up the ladder, right? So you have to look beyond these things and start considering what other aspects or how you can actually have a greater effect. Now, we have to practice business with purpose, and we have to see that we are pretty much practicing everything to the utmost capacity, and be in the places that we need to be at the right times. Now, finding where we can be that greatest value within the marketplace. Now, we have our specialties. You guys are the accountants, you guys are the marketers, so maybe finding where those spaces are not your critical, where you want to spend most of your energies. You want to spend your time crunching your numbers, whether that be considered boring or not. But that's what you want to be doing, because that's what you're good at. And then you, once you're at that stage, then you're exercising the utmost value. Now, where to target those things? As far as that will lead you to become competitive and eventually be a productive, efficient individual, and also which will eventually lead to the profits and all the success that comes with it. As far as business analysts are concerned, they work in various industries, whether it be finance, banking, insurance, the medical industry, utilities, software services. They do multiple things, so they're necessary in all these aspects of business and communications. Different functions that they perform, they can work in different areas. Strategic planning, identifying those needs of the business. So the business has particular needs, how many computers to acquire, how much staff do we need, things of that nature. But then also the business model analysis. So we have to figure out how do we target the market, or what market to target. And then eventually also what policies to put in place to have the greatest effect that we're targeting. So beyond that, okay, so also you have that process design. So once you figure out that you're providing a specific service, let's establish a process. Let's make it lean. Let's make it more powerful. And also systems analysis, where we can figure out, okay, what software do we actually need? We're interacting with people. How could we provide that service most effectively? So this is where the analyst is coming in and figuring out all these things. So again, you can perform your job to the most effective way possible. The company becomes more productive and more efficient. As far as the environment that we're working with, right now we're working in a very interactive global economy, whatever it may be. So it's very interactive. We have like millions of interactions taking place, connections, and a lot of the stuff, maybe some stuff is interrelated. Stuff that is happening in America is being affected by stuff that's happening in Asia. And we have to be able to capitalize on those things. However, we also need to be conscious that not everything works everywhere. So we have to be conscious. We're dealing with this thing called big data. Big data is everywhere. It's happening a lot. A lot of it is being gathered all over the place. So what do you do with this stuff? you find what is most significant in it. You look for the most, what is affecting us, what is more local to us, and what affects our market. How are we affected by all this? And again, you are the accountant. You need to spend time on what you do best. And let the analyst step in and do what he does best. Figure this stuff out for you. So, what do you want to do? You want to find the power of context, okay? You look at your location, you look at your areas of where you're an expert at, and start figuring out, what do people value? Where are the people valuing it? When? Because timing is vital too. Things fluctuate over time. And you also have the decision, like, how do people value it? You know, it may be that they want it to be communicated to them in a specific way, or it could be just simply straightforward and impersonal, let's say, or maybe a variation of all those. Now, going back to this big data thing, so the biggest thing is what these guys are going to do for you, they're going to identify and help you understand. So you may start out at this point, eventually things may grow and more of them pop up. So you start with 2 more, now it grows, and that's it. So the biggest thing here is eliminate frustration and save time. So avoid losing time so that eventually you can practice your craft and become who you are and become the best at it. So this is how bringing value, you having the greatest impact through the help of the analysts coming in and establishing the environment for you.
Thank you.
So what's up, guys?
So you have to ask for those questions. Did you ask?
Does anybody have questions? Go ahead, Debbie.
Would you tell me a little bit more about the relationship that you see between big data and the whole, I'll use your word there, craft of business analysis?
Okay, well, the craft of business that I'm addressing here is everybody else, because a doctor doesn't need to know how he needs to be, or let's just put it specific, a surgeon, he needs to be doing surgeries.
Right.
Why distract them with something? How do I attract people to my hospital, you know? So I'm addressing this to the professionals that are gonna be affected by the processes that the analyst puts in place. So now big data is looking at the trends that are happening around, affecting the services that this surgeon or whatever professional is practicing at the moment.
Okay, so
big,
in your metaphor, who is the surgeon? The non-business analysts or the business
The non-business analysts? The non-business analysts.
So they're the surgeons, and the business analyst is like the
He is the answer. He is like an answer. He's the one that's going to provide the structure in which they can provide the value to patients, clients, whatever that may be. But it could be any profession. So, I mean, they will need an analyst, and that's why I said the banking and everything else, or the accountants, they can do their accounting as good as they can, but I will help them identify, or I keep saying but the business analyst will help them identify the environment in which they should like invest their time. Not necessarily, you're not crunching numbers just for anybody. You're crunching numbers for the people that would lead to greater gains.
So if I'm understanding what you're saying,
Yeah.
In this big, huge world of global interactions,
Yes.
the business analyst allows you to sort of find your little niche there.
Yes.
And how you can reach out to others.
Exactly, but at the same time, be able to follow that while you're working on your specialty. He will keep track of those trends and the changes as they're taking place and help you refocus. You only need to care about what is pertinent to you as a specialist. And then I will help narrow that down in hopes that you are of more value to that marketplace. Go ahead.
Just I got this job correctly, I think
Yeah.
it's more an economist than a business analyst.
So repeat this question, you're asking me. Yeah.
So you're asking me if this business analyst profession compares to an economist. In a sense, I think there are some relationships there. You have to be broader minded, you have to consider the big picture, but I don't think it necessarily has to focus with the way, when I think of an economist, it's more of how the flow of cash or maybe how much things are worth and exchanges taking place, whereas an analyst can also focus on the emotional impact of a specific service. So let's say we start looking at Twitter feeds of how people are feeling throughout the year and figure out what their needs are at a specific time of year and focus marketing campaigns towards them during those timeframes. You know, that kind of thinking. So it may cover those things, but I guess it's specialized for the environment that it's dealing with, or the industry it's working in.
Okay, let's do our good and cop. And the volunteers, go ahead.
I'll be the good cop. So I really liked how you addressed each of us, like talking to the accountant, talking to marketing, and asking Elizabeth her major. So I felt like by that way you're grabbing our attention more and getting us more interested in the subject rather than just starting with, like I felt like you're using your orientation better because you're addressing each person in a class rather than just the whole class. So that was really, really good.
Thank you.
All right, the terrible job. Who's doing the terrible job? Well, then I'm gonna take it on this time, guys. Your enthusiasm is so infectious. That really gets your audience caught up in it, wanting to hear what you have to say. A couple of things, and believe it or not, you're in the same category as most folks who are making sort of their maiden voyage in making speeches in my class. Your topic is really huge. And to make it more realistic for us, it would be helpful to maybe, I loved the way, I agree with Samiha, that you talk to the people in the class, but maybe choose one example and tell exactly what a business analyst might do. For instance, my husband and we have this is what we do on the side. We just did analysis, market research, strategy planning for a manufacturer of window awnings. You want to know how boring stuff can be, window awnings? But what can for a marketer, what can the business analyst do? For the accountant, if you take the accountant, what can the business analyst do in that? Because if it's so broad, we're having trouble seeing any particular person. You see what I'm saying? Or any particular group of services. So like other people who are speaking, your ambition was bigger than the amount of time that you really had to bring it home to us. Your enthusiasm, again, I think is wonderful, and I think it kept our attention. Watch your movement, because you were a little dancing. You were dancing, and if Neil were here, I know that he would have something to say about your
Oh yeah.
It's a filler. We all have fillers. Just now that you're aware of it, try to become so smooth in the sentences you're planning to say that the becomes at least minimal. Okay? Thank you, John.